by Goldman. The following statement was given by Goldman. He stated that there is an old fashioned word for the body of skills that emotional intelligence represent character, which was very true. In the initial time when emotional intelligence came as a feature, Goldman felt that emotional intelligence is just taken as a skill by people. So, when we talk about emotional intelligence as a skill, that means something that you can grow within yourself, something that you can acquire as a skill. But ideally, he said in the old fashioned way, this was something which was called as a character. Also, this was stated in 1995, which is being very close to the generation today. Also, the mixed model that we are going to discuss talks about both abilities and skill. That means it's going to talk about something that you inherit as an individual, which is an ability, and some things which can be acquired with a skill. So, do we understand that we talk about the factor that we are going to discuss in mixed model? Abilities and skills, something that you have within yourself from the time of birth, and something as a skill that you can acquire from the environment. So it's like a nature nurture combination that even emotional intelligence talks about, and personality traits in explaining and measuring emotional intelligence. So, we are not only going to talk about emotional intelligence, ability, and skill, but also traits. That means something that you reflect outside and something that you are inheriting and acquiring. Thus, the assessment of this is done by self-report measure. As we understand that these are mixed model of emotional intelligence, we need to know that the performance is actually going to be assessed by self-report measures. Also, two models are generally thought to fall under the mixed models of emotional intelligence, which is the two models which were under the mixed model was Baron's model and Goldman's performance model. So the two models come under mixed model of emotional intelligence. Then the Baron model was what this was coined, is acknowledged to have coined the term emotional quotient as a measure of emotional intelligence in his doctoral dissertation. Just as emotional quotient is, it is a measure of cognitive intelligence also, and Ermling and Coleman gave this factor. So what is this trying to quote us and tell us is that the Baron model was one of the first model in which psychologists coined us the term quotient, which is like intelligence has IQ, emotional intelligence has EQ. This was considered also not only, a preference and a judgment, a measure of intelligence, but also emotional intelligence and cognitive intelligence. Then Rougon Baron in 2002 emphasized that the adaptive functions of emotional intelligence by defining it as an array of cognitive abilities, competencies, skills that influence one's ability to succeed in the environment, demands, and pressure, which is very true. When we talk about emotional intelligence, ideally it is about adaptation. It is about being able to adapt in the environment that you present according to the environmental demands and the cultural pressures that we have. So, emotional intelligence is just not being able to regulate and passively being able to manage your emotion. It is equally about an ability that will make you succeed in the environment, will be able to make you adapt in the environment according to the environmental demands and pressures. At the same time, emotional intelligence in his views allows individuals to function well, maintain well being by adapting in a certain way to his or her environment. And more specifically, let's count these abilities that Baron model was talking about. They mentioned that if individuals want to function well and maintain their well being, they need to adapt to a certain way. So when we talk about adapting to the certain way to the environment, there were some abilities that we should all have. If we have a higher IQ, these would be a tap to one, two, three, abilities that all of us will have. The first is awareness of understanding and expression of oneself. So being aware about yourself, understanding yourself, and expression of oneself. Then we talk about awareness of understanding and relating to the others. This is how emotional intelligence also functions. It's not about you understanding yourself, but also you understanding others at the same time, relating to them, being able to connect to them emotionally, and understanding their emotions. Then we come down to dealing with strong emotions, controlling one's impulses, which is being able to manage your hardcore emotions that happen and being able to even control it. No emotional outbursts, no outburst of your feelings, and let it all be flowed amongst people. So being able to control that. At the same time, adapting to change, solving problems of a personal and social nature. So this is again a part of EQ, that they're able to help you in problem solving of social environment and personal environment. So these were abilities according to Baron model stated that we all should own if we are talking about being having an emotional intelligence. Then there are the major skills and areas that model maps, that are, intrapersonal skills. So let's just elaborate on we would have intrapersonal, interpersonal, we will have stress related management here. So these are some skills that the model map emphasized on. One is intrapersonal. What does intrapersonal talks about? Intrapersonal actually talks about, having an awareness of yourself, being able to understand who you are completely, about your motives, your desires, your feelings, your intentions. So it comprises of emotional awareness, which is again being aware of your own emotions, assertiveness, being able to express yourself, by keeping yourself a priority. Self-regard, which was being aware of and accepting others and yourself. Actualization is reaching your highest potential, which is, marking your fullest potential, being able to relate and to focus and achieve the highest point that you've marked for yourself. These are also to goal achievement. Self-actualization also talks about goal achievement. Then we talk about independence, which is being self-reliant and being opposed to emotional dependency on others, which is very true. Intrapersonal actually talks about you having self regard, being aware of yourself completely, self actualization, be assertive, which talks about, when we talk about being assertive, being able to understand what is right for me and wrong, and very constructively and opinionatively saying that and learning to say a no. That's assertiveness. So this completes with intrapersonal as skills given by the Baron model. Let's come to the second skill, which was the interpersonal, a complete opposite of intrapersonal. Interpersonal skills are skills which helps you manage relationship with other people. So interpersonal is establishing and maintaining mutual relationships, satisfying relationship with others. Also, this also brings about, interpersonal is just not about others and you with others. It also emphasizes on social responsibility, which is identifying and finding a part of one social group as well as acting to support them. And empathy is extremely important when we talk about when we are relating to the other people. Why? Empathy is what in general terms? Empathy is being able to feel in other people's shoe, like and understanding their pain. So it's like being aware and understanding of how other people feel. Empathy is one of the, I feel, empathy is one of the most important skill that you have while growing up, not only for, emotional intelligence, but also if you're talking about skill development of your own, any kind of skill that you want to develop, you need to essentially understand how people think. Also, if you're thinking about being a psychologist or a counselor, you need to have empathy. You need to completely understand other people's feelings and pains like their own. You cannot be sympathetic in nature. Then another factor that we have is another skill that we have is adaptability skills. Adaptability skills talk about being able to problem solve. There is reality testing. Reality testing is such a, it's such an important core of adaptability skills. The reason, keeping your emotion in touch with the facts of the world and the reality of the world. There are times when people tend to daydream, tend to think so many things, build castles in the air about what they wish to do, plan to do, but at the same time they lack adaptation, which is, they're unable to solve problems, give out constructive unique problems to interpersonal and intrapersonal problems, and they end up building castles, think very elaborately, but there isn't any constructive and reality oriented solution. So reality testing is very important as a core part of adaptability skills. How do we adapt until we do not, relate to the world? Then there is flexibility, which is obviously being able to be plastic, being able to be stretched as per the environmental changes. This is extremely important. COVID was one of the biggest example for people who were able to shift from offline to online, manage it, schedule themselves, being able to prioritize not only the interpersonal but also intrapersonal needs. Then we have the fourth, as I said, stress management skills is another skill that we talk about, which talks about having stress tolerance, an extremely important factor which Baron actually, from that time from 1995 focuses on is managing one's own emotions effectively and constructively. So if you'll be able to manage your emotion really well, remember, stress tolerance as an individual increases. Impulse control, which is again no outburst of emotion. You need to be thinking before acting. You need to be making sure that whatever that you put out, whatever that you feel, and you displaying your emotion needs to be in control, needs to be in sync with what you want to say and talk and probably express. So that's impulse control. Then we have general mood. General mood will obviously talk about happiness and optimism, and at the same time, the two together talks about how we are optimistic of every life goals in every life situation, and happiness is feeling contented with what you have, and general feeling of joy in your life. A lot of people who do not have this, I feel these were some essential skills that Baron model of the mixed model conveyed us. That emotional intelligence, when talking about people who are emotionally intelligent, according to Baron, must have these skills, which is very true. Intra and interpersonal skills are such an important core. Then the adaptability skills, the stress management, and the general mode. Let's see the image that's going to help us support us. See the intra, the interpersonal, the stress management, the adaptability. And then this comes down to as a general mood, which, if you have all of these skills, you're self aware, you are having a self regard, you're actualizing. Remember, you even equally have social responsibility, interpersonal relationship, you're empathetic in nature. Remember, these two comes together and able to help you manage stress well. You'll be able to be more adaptable. We'll come to a general mood, which is fulfilling, which is happiness. Optimism, the fact that you've been dealing with people, able to control your emotion, you are more positive about yourself and outcomes, leads to an effective performance in the environment, which is stabilized with emotional intelligence. So this was the Baron model, which was the first mixed model. Let's find out how do we assess, as spoken before. Baron model, being a mixed model of emotional intelligence, is going to use self-report measures, and the original EQI, which was the emotional quotient inventory, was given by Baron emotional quotient inventory model. This comprised of 133 items, which is 133 questions, all in self-report measures. That means you are reporting self, you are reporting on your own. It is normed for individuals aged 17 and older, comprises descriptive sentences that an individual rates for 5 4 3 2 1, which is very seldom to average, etc. And it's a questionnaire, and it is stated, it's not something that it's a time bound questionnaire, but people state that a lot of us will complete it in 30 minutes, as much time. That's an approximate time that most people have been taking. So, this was an assessment of the Barrow model. Let's move to the next emotional mixed model that we have. The next emotional mixed model that we have is performance model of EI, which is emotional intelligence. Goldsman initial model was 1998, sorry, consisted of 5 dimensions of emotional intelligence, broadly categorized into personal competency that relates to recognizing of your own emotions, your social competency, which deals with emotions in a social category. So, personal competency, as spoken before, also comprises of self awareness, regulation, and motivation. Social comprises of social skills and empathy. Makes sense. Personal would be something which is going to be self awareness, regulation, motivation. Social has to be in connection with others. So this model comprises of 5 essential dimension, which was for emotional intelligence, of emotional intelligence, according to Goldman. If you have this, your performance, as the name of the model is also performance model, your performance tends to be buffered. Let's speak about each of them. Speaking of something which is self, then social. Self comprises of your emotional self awareness, accurate assessment. This will lead to better empathetic environment, which is your organizational awareness about people in your organization is going to be very fruitful and fulfilling. This is the way that you will be more service oriented, which is knowing your people, devising the right kind of skills, the right kind of activities for your workers. And if yourself is aware, which is emotionally aware, you know who you are, and you're accurately labeling the right feeling to right emotion, leads to better self management. How? There's going to be a high self control, which is the impulse control is going to be there. You're going to be trustworthy of your own self. You know what you're doing is right. There's high sense of conscientiousness. That means you are very rational about your opinion. There's going to be adaptability. The reason, the more self aware that we are, the better that we control ourselves, the better that we adapt to the environment. At the same time, the better is going to be your achievement. We are able to actualize faster if we are aware of ourselves. And then This actualization and success will lead to us to drive, will make us to be driven to succeed. And the more that we move towards success, the more initiative to new things and new activities will be. Similarly, let's go to self awareness. Self awareness, again, knowing who you are, knowing your emotions accurately, and then putting it into assessment. Then comes empathy on the social terms. Social term is of being organized, organizedly fit, I feel. The awareness is knowing every nook and corner of your workplace and people, the system of your workplace. Then there is service orientation, which is relating to people correctly and appropriately. If this is done after self awareness, remember the relationship management is bound to happen, which is you are able to influence people in a very inspirational pattern. So if you're a leader, you'll be an inspiring leader to people. People will love to follow you. You would look forward to develop others because you know every nook and corner from the organizational awareness. You believe in building bonds in your workplace, have the right kind of influence, and look forward to teamwork and collaboration. So when we say teamwork and collaboration, you look forward to work together with people, pick out the essentialities of each one of them, and work. So this is how this model of AI functions. So if you're aware of self, social awareness comes quickly. That awareness, social awareness will lead to a better understanding of your relationship management. Similarly, self awareness would lead to a better self management. And having a better self management will automatically lead to you performing better in your organization. So you will perform better, know people better, and you will be able to, manage each one of them in a good way. So this was the five dimensions of, Goldman, which was given by him in 1998 as performance model. As stated, it has four quadrants that we have just, studied by intersection between self and social awareness as well as regulation. As we become aware, remember the recognition and regulation of emotions are the two key aspects of emotional intelligence abilities. So, which is true. The more aware that you are, the better managed that you are. I feel this is something that we can apply in our day-to-day living also. The better that you know yourself is the better that you manage yourself. The people who do not know themselves, they don't know who they are, who they want to be, what are their emotions. Remember, they are never able to manage themselves publicly, and neither the others and nor themselves. So, having these capacities does not necessarily mean that all competency and skills that underlie are possessed by us, which is very true. We might not be trustworthy, but we might be very self reliant. So, not everything would be there, but the awareness needs to be intact. So, if that is, we're able to perform emotionally intelligently in that pattern. Then come to the assessment of the performance model of EI. This was a primary tool for the assessment of emotional competency under the model, and they had an inventory which was called the emotional competence inventory. This was given by Daniel Goleman and Richard Boyatis. And this version comprises of tools, which is ECI 20. The tool comprises of 18 competency, 18, which was divided into four quadrants outline, which is self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. So there were four quadrants, four like that, and comprises of approximately 18 competency in total. So this was the ECI given by Goldman, the performance model. That completes with all the models of emotion, telling us that we did a trait model, we did an ability model, then came to something which was a mixed model that are these two, and also the Genos model that we did. So five models in a bigger section that we completed to understand what is theoretically labeled by people by their inventories and theories as emotional intelligent, and a term called emotional competence and emotional quotient also. So I repeat again, as we have intelligence, we have in IQ. As we have emotional intelligence, we have EQ. That finishes with our unit 4. Let's move to unit 5 of BPC 183. So this is the block 4 that we start with. This is something I feel we all require: emotions, self-control, and assertiveness. We all should require how to have an emotional self-control. What is the importance of self-control? What are the strategies if we want to develop that control within ourselves? Is assertiveness anyhow connected to EI, which is emotional intelligence? And if it is, what are the strategies to develop your assertiveness? So let's continue with the same as unit 5. And this is, I think, one of those units, not only educational and academically, we can learn from it for our daily life. So what are emotions? We all know emotions is a very complex set of feelings. and it is pervasive in all domains. That means emotions will not only impact your academic, professional, and your personal life, but also social, also your your day-to-day environment. So it has, it is a building block of all our relationship and all our interactions. We at times do make emotional intelligence a pillar for success. We might have emotional intelligence a very important pillar for success. At times, emotion, the term itself means emotion, which is feelings on motion. They makes us move. They makes us do things that we wish to. And according to our understanding, our self-awareness, we will succeed or fail accordingly. Have a good intra and interpersonal. I'm sure we are going to succeed in knowing people and ourselves. If not, probably in more acquisition is required and we fail to focus on our goals. Also, speaking of this, hence we need to know that we need to focus on our emotion. We need to recognize them, we need to engage in them, explore them, express and control them. So, let's take an example. We are happy today. So, let's take an example. We are very happy today. We need to recognize that this is happiness. This is happiness is not only just feeling joy, happiness is also about feeling contented with what you have. So, this is the recognition. Then engaging with them, which is using your happiness to devise your entire day, putting out work in it correctly. That means, being happy does not mean you end up smiling the entire day, laughing the entire day. Do not just keep enjoying what and not completely finish it and complete it. That is not happiness. Happiness is feeling contented and utilizing, expressing it in the right manner and not going overboard, which is ignoring the other sects of your life, the other dimensions of your life of goal achievement, priorities, completion of work, and just feeling happy and clapping in what area and feeling very positive about it. That is not. Which is recognizing being happy, engaging that it is contentment and the fact that I'm very happy with the goal setting, utilizing the same emotion to express it correctly, and further controlling it so that you're able to actualize and that feel correctly and appropriately, which will make our life very effective and also joyful. Then moving to next, we need to first, identification of emotion has been always paramount, very important. We always felt that, in emotional intelligence also, it's okay to feel whatever we feel. No, emotional intelligence will always glorify and always put the lead of recognizing emotion, which is the first is to identify what are you feeling. If what you're feeling is not expressed and understood well, it might not be expressed well. So it's like identifying what is the emotion that you're experiencing, recognizing it so that you know how it is impacting and affecting our performance in relationships and behavior. Once we do that, we would be in a position to bring about changes in our communication behavior so that it create a very positive impact. So it's important to understand that as soon as we understand the fact that we are able to devise and understand our emotion, we recognize the right part. Once we recognize it, it facilitates behavior in relationship. If you're able to do that, remember that will bring about the effective changes in communication behavior so that you create a positive impact. Then let's come to an understanding of connecting the two aspects together, the self control and emotions. Do we really feel that it's important for us to control our emotions? Do we really feel that if, let's take an example, we have emotional understanding, but we do not have self control? I'll give you an example here of children. How children lack self control and how we grow as adults and the adaptation starts. So let's take an example. There's a little child very happy with his grades that he's received and is feeling very happy. So again, the feeling that you have is what? Happiness. The emotion that we have is happiness. So once we have that as an emotion, we try to express it correctly. So children are expressing it with each other by sharing their remarks, they're sharing their marks over it, telling what is important, telling that I am happy because I graded well, I am one of the toppers in my class. But at the same time, they repeatedly put out their success in front of each and every person time and again. This is where we indicate that there is a lack of control of oneself. We are not able to control one's emotion in that moment, and we are just being aware of it. But we do not know how much to put it in a box. Let's take an example. When we fill white water in the ice cube tray, do we let the water just keep coming in? Won't the ice cube tray just be floored with water and it will not retain any water? So that is what is self-control all about. The right amount as per your fix and fit is required. So it's being aware of your emotions and putting a check on them, that you do not burst as a result of one's emotion. You're able to assess situation and other people and not go overboard also. So when we speak about being going overboard, this suggests just not losing control. Being happy, joyfully smiling, laughing, and shouting in front of other people, that is something that we do not allow. That is something what self control gets us. So imagine if we just speak emotionally and we do not have a self control, how would it look like? We will tell each and everything of our day to a second person without any control, without any understanding, and without being able to relate to it also. When we express too much of our emotion and there's a lack of regulation and control, we are not keeping a check of what is going where. So you don't get to know how much happiness have you expressed to people, and then you repeat it all over again. As a result of this, once as a result of this situation, you are not able to assess situation properly around you. You're not able to problem solve properly. You cannot even decide what you want to do. So it's like completely moving out of your fit. So thus, emotional self-control is about restraining and controlling your emotion according to situation and being reducing your impulsivity. I just feel it's like the lock and key. The right lock needs to have the right key. So if you're feeling happiness, the happiness needs to go to the right lock of the happiness and express adequately. I feel adequacy is always the key. That's how emotions and self control goes hand in hand. Now, moving ahead, Stern and Book in 2004, which has been so recent, have defined that emotional self control is a capacity for identifying one's anger, impulsive, aggressive, burst, which being composed and putting brakes on anger, aggressiveness, hostile attitude, irresponsible behavior, which is very true. Emotional self control does not just means that you regulate your emotions all the time. You just keep making sure that this is my not five, I only express this much. It's also equally letting you understand you need to put brakes on hostility towards people, dislikability. The term hate being used with people too much. No, we need to control it, reason it well. Irresponsible behavior should be coming under control. Aggressive impulses should be reasoned out before you just floor it and throw it on people. So, as Stain and Book rightly said, it is a capacity for identifying one's angry impulse, aggressive impulses, being composed and putting the brakes on your anger, hostile attitude, irresponsible behavior. The self control is composed and is understood as, makes us understand our emotions better and not act out of impulse. I'll give you an example. Let's take an example: two group of boys fighting because they did not get a seat, just a seat where they wanted to sit, and they're just throwing anger onto oneself, fighting, and wasted the entire 45 1 hour. And the motive of the seat is gone now. So, what will self control tell us? It does tell us to understand your emotion and not act out of impulse. The time that you act out of impulse, remember the goal of emotions is finished. Because goals of emotion is what? It's to identify, recognize, and express it rightly. If you're not able to do that, what's the point of having one? So that's what emotional self control is so important. Let's also have three stages. This was given by Mangal and Mangal. He's an Indian psychologist, has books also of Mangal and Mangal, General Psychology, Experimental Psychology. You can have your hands on it. He stated in 2015, indicated three stages, the way that you can develop self control. So, anyone who feels that they have an emotional outburst, they have too much of, things that they put out, remember how you can make sure that you have a self control on your emotional outburst or emotional understanding. First, the first paramount, always going to be one, which is awareness about present emotional state. This is step one. It always starts with awareness, it always starts with recognition. So being able to recognize the development of self-control is to become aware of one's own emotional state, knowing how and what are you feeling. So the how, what, and when needs to be understand completely. I feel completely understood. It should be understood properly. There shouldn't be any confusion when you're labeling your emotion, intensity of it, how and when of it. Once You have an awareness of your emotional state. Remember, the awareness not only talks about just knowing what you're feeling, it can happen in many ways. Knowing about your emotion is one, the nature and the kind. Then paying attention to your physical manifestation. You might feel very sad, but then your body movement and gestures is very anxious. Remember, you have still not developed a self-awareness. You have two cross-connecting things: your emotions and your body, uh, postures. Paying attention to physical manifestation, which is the movement, meditation practices. This is also how you can develop an awareness of yourself. Scanning your physical changes. If you feel that your body is getting warmer, as soon as you feel anxious, your body gets warm, your ear gets red, you feel that hot flushes in your body. It's important to identify what goes in your body. Then scanning others also with regard to changes in body language and behavior. Second, after you become aware through all of this, remember, it's important to determine underlying causes responsible for the present state. So you need to know if you're sad, what has led to that sadness. When you focus on an emotional state, we are experiencing the next step to find out why we are experiencing this. You need to know the why behind it. You need to know why are you feeling like this? What has led to this kind of feeling? What has made me anxious today? Why there's such an unrest? You need to go back a little, identify traces where this anxiety might have started and what has led to these emotions and anxiety. After determining the causes behind what your state of emotion is, you need to adopt measures. Like this is like a complete, not only a complete development of self control, I feel also an understanding of how you regulate your emotions at the same time, which was rightly given by Mangal and Mangal in 2015. So, adopting measures to control your emotional state. So, you feel your anxiety is too much, you recognize it has happened because of this. Now, we know that the reason for our emotions, we are in a better position to control these. There are several ways that help us, in emotional self control. How can you regulate it? How can you control and, your emotional self control can be uplifted? Take a pause within yourself and outside yourself, which is like as soon as you experience something, just relax, deep breathe, yoga, or probably just do deep breathing 5 to 10 times. It will make you realize what goes on in your body. Talk to family and friends if body relaxation and self relaxation and meditation yoga is not doing any help. Confined in the right kind of person to vent out or probably to share so that it is able to control your emotions. Another way of this is adopting an internal locus of control. Locus of control is something what churns you to achieve, motivate, and move towards your goals in life. Some people are internally motivated, some people are externally. External locus of control is these people required external stimulation, appreciation, pat on the back, external thought from other people, and at the same time, uh, the internal locus of control, people who are motivated from within, people who understands their motives and goals from within. So if they want to make a change in their life, who do they need to contact? Themselves. They do not require external environment. Internal locus of control is the entire sense of control is inside the body and the person. So that's internal locus of control. Another way of doing is obviously having a very optimistic and a positive thought process, positive attitude and hope. The last is planning beforehand that helps you anticipate the likely impact of your emotions and modify your behaviors accordingly. So it's like planning beforehand that helps you anticipate that are likely to making sure that you do not have an emotional outburst. Simple ways. The simple way to control is making sure that you do not, go overboard. So, what is better? Plan yourself. Plan this is how I would go step by step in my problems or in my solution or my day to day. If you do that, remember, that is going to help in emotional control in a greater pattern. Now, let's go through the stages again. So, there is an understanding. How do we have a self control acquired to us? Self control can be acquired with the help of awareness of emotional state that can happen by scanning yourself, physical manifestation to be recognized, also scanning others with regards to the body language and behavior. Also, at the same time, paying attention to the physical manifestation, knowing about your emotions, feelings, etc. Once you know what you are aware what you are actually talking about as emotion, what are you feeling, determine what has caused this emotion. No matter if it's happiness, you need to determine what is causing happiness also. which is going to talk about you going back to previous experiences. Then, speaking of adopting to the fact that you know where the problem is coming from, the self control starts. How did this self control will start? This self control will begin when you are able, when we talk about this self control, when you are in a position to control yourself. This could be self relaxation, could be yoga, it could be just talking to someone that you like and can confide in. It could be just being positive and constructive about yourself, and also revision and planning. This is just like how we plan for examination. It's adopting to measures for self control. Then moving to emotion and assertiveness, one of the most important skill I feel today's generation, teenagers and adolescents, even adults should have, the process of saying no, the process of understanding that your emotions do have, you have the right to control your emotion. So assertiveness is the second most important skill which is connected to emotions. In many situations we hesitate to express our emotion because we have this fear of rejection, not being understood by people, apprehension that we others will get angry, others will judge, others will not like it, they might not feel appropriate about me. So what are we thinking here? Before expression, we are doubting ourselves or we are not confident. So what do we do? At a lot of time, people do not express the right feelings. That's part one. Once you're not assertive. Second, they are not completely able to express themselves and their emotions. And just to avoid the weakness, the rejection, the limitation. And there's a shame of looking inferior in front of others. So if you're feeling anxious, maybe you feel, I don't want to express this feeling. They will say that I don't have the capacity, I do not have the ability to do well. So this is again, the shame and the guilt and the hesitation controls the person. That tells us that we would not be able to, show my real emotion. You feel inferior, you feel incapable. This all results in suppression of emotions. And suppression of emotion is not one of the greatest of ways that we should engage, because suppression of emotion in a long run situation, piling of emotion does what? Let's take an example of a normal, day to day example that we have. You had a great day at work. Your great day would have just been completion of tasks, right? But by the time when you saw the people doing greater of work, you felt okay. My happiness is not something that I need to express, because you felt inferior. That my task was just completing what I was given in the day, and the third and the second person has done much more activity and performance in the day. So when speaking of this, remember, when you compare with the other person, what are you feeling? You are feeling hesitant. You are feeling the same time, you are also feeling that inferiority, that my happiness is not appropriate because these people have done bigger and better things. You start feeling incapable. What day one, you feel the same the second day, day two. Remember, your performance will automatically go down because you are now giving yourself an inferior self check. We have gone down our ladder. Suppression with time and again will always result in depression. We all know that it would lead to you not labeling your emotion, not coming out in the public, not relating to it confidently, which will lead to depression. So that's the reason assertiveness is an important skill that we have. What does assertiveness stands for? It is, standing up for your personal rights, expressing your thoughts, feelings and emotion appropriately, very directly, honestly, in right ways, and learning to say a no. Assertiveness is also always about, owning to yourself, this is my rights, this is how I feel, and confidently putting it honestly in front of other people. And yes, I feel emotional intelligence does need this skill, because if you do not express the true self, you do not acknowledge yourself amongst people, you do not appreciate yourself amongst people, remember, this is going to lead to lowering down your emotional intelligence also. So when we talk about lowering down your emotional intelligence, it is also going to lead to make you feel inferior amongst people. So in comparison, let's compare the two. What was self control? Self control is an ability. Again, the control did talk about the fact that you need to be able to be aware, determine the cause, and then after that adopting mechanism to control it. So here there's a lot of working through that happens in self control. Also, self control can be acquired. It is something that you can acquire with the passage of with the systematic orders and sequence of steps. And It, what does it do to your emotional intelligence or emotion? Self controls allow you to recognize the right emotion. So your emotion will start from where it will start from self control, and it will further go on with assertiveness. Assertiveness does not happen in terms of recognition because you've already recognized your emotion. It happens at the time of expression of emotion, at the time of understanding that this is the way I need to be putting out myself. Now, moving ahead, what is the meaning and importance of assertiveness? Assertiveness is, it is to assert one's right, to speak up for yourself and what one thinks and feels. So, on the right connotation, assertiveness is just what are you feeling as an emotion which was given by self control. Let's take an example. The self control has facilitated you and made you inform that today you are nervous or today you're very happy. Either of the two emotion, let's pick up. Let's feel that today you're very excited. Let's take that different emotion. Today I'm very excited. This has been recognized by self control, and they tell us that you do not need to show it to everybody. You just need to show it to the right kind of people, express it to the right kind of people. And once that's done, remember you'll be assertive enough, which is you will have the right to share it with people. Speak about your excitement to the other ones of what are you feeling about yourself today, why did that excitement come into play, and what it makes you feel. So this is what is assertiveness: confidently being able to put out your emotion, confidently being able to speaking up for your emotion. Thus it refers to what? Assertiveness. So did you understand the difference? Control makes you begin your emotion and makes you identify the right kind and put it on the platter. Assertiveness supports you of making you identify that it's your right. You need to identify this. And after identification, you need to express the right amount. Label it and express the right amount. It's your right. Don't keep it within yourself if you want to, if you want to share it with people. Thus, assertiveness refers to exercising one's own right to be respected. However, this is done in such a manner that you must not disregard the rights of other people. You need to respect other ones also, but equally pay respect to yourself. Equally pay respect to what you are feeling. That finishes with something which we talk about as self assertion. Also, as Steen and book in 2006 also stated that assertiveness is also a skill. That means it can be acquired. So being able to disagree with others without resorting to any sort of emotional sabotage or subterfuge, which is being refusing and falling onto other people, being able to walk the fine line, defending their wishes while at the same time respecting another person's viewpoint and being sensitive to their needs. So, self assertion is a whole chunk of needs and a whole chunk of skill that you need to learn. Why? It will not only tell you about being able to express your emotion in front of people appropriately and properly, but also at the same time it talks about being able to disagree with others without resorting to emotional sabotage. You should not blame yourself that, oh God, today I expressed the factor that I was so excited, shouldn't have told people. People might have felt why I'm excited at the middle of the day. These kind of feelings should be ignored. And subterfuge also, which means subterfuge is something in terms of being falling onto people, controlling people. Your emotion expression should not control others. So neither you should sabotage, or neither you should be controlling other people. Being able to walk the fine line, defending your wishes, presenting it to people. At the same time, when you tell about your excitement, you should respect the other person's need. You should respect how are they feeling about your excitement. If they feel good, please appreciate and thank you. And if you feel that these people are not taking it well, make sure you're sensitive to their needs. So this is the importance. Also, let's come down to some important things which has been told about assertiveness. Assertiveness is an interpersonal skill, very rightly. Assertiveness does brings about understanding of other people, relating to other people's need, relating to their emotional intelligence. So being able to understand how are you feeling, how are you expressing your emotion, at the same time how are I'm expressing my emotion and I'm feeling. So again, a skill. Also, this skill consists of 5 C's that we have, which is the conscience, confidence, clarity, courage, and control. So speaking, we'll just I'll just explain it to you. Clear means clarity of thought and emotions, which is when we talk about the three, assertiveness comprises of making you clear about your emotions. Assertiveness does, teaches us this. Let's take an example. You have a presentation on day one, and because of that presentation, you're very confused of what you need to speak. Do you need to speak first? Do you need to speak second? You need to be assertive. You need to be very clear. The person in charge needs to be questioned when I'm going and how. You need to be concise and precise. Your question should not be so long that it confuses not only you but the other person. So you need to be concise. Need to have the confidence because you need to precisely put out your question. Courageous and control. Control is extremely important when we speak about assertiveness. So these are the 5 C's that conveys that in a concise, manner and clearly. You need to convey your message, emotions, and feelings in a controlled and calm manner. That's how you can develop and acquire a kind of skill also, which is called assertiveness. Then it talks about it respects the needs of oneself as well as the needs of others. Assertiveness actually provides a lot of clarity to other people also of what are you feeling. Let's take an example again. You have a meeting before with a set of greater individuals at workplace, and at the same time your colleague who's equally working on the same unit of work does not know about that meeting. You need to be clear. What do you need to do? Confidently, precisely tell the person that he or she is not a part of it and you're a part of it, and his involvement will come next as soon there is a presentation and making your other colleagues understand that what do we need to do. So remember, this is how we confidently state other people. We should not be so given to others that we say, oh, we are so sorry, I did not know you're a part of it. Okay, I will ask other people if you can also be a part of it. He or she cannot be concisely, confidently, and courageously in a calm manner convey that their work and job does not start till there. That's why he or she is not there. So, this is what we talk about having the 5 C's incorporated in any emotional expression that you have. Then it respects the need of oneself as well as the others. It's again very rightly said, it exemplifies the principle live and let live. Assertiveness does add that to your emotion, that you express what is important and let it be. This will cause less stress and will, you'll be both happy, you'll be both confident, and at the same time, you will be able to manage your emotions well. Then, assertive people can fight for their right at the same time they're able to care for the others and also not hurt other people's feeling. When we talk about assertiveness, a lot of people feel it's very similar to aggression. No, it's the middle pathway. From being aggressive or submissive, assertion is the middle pathway, and it's one of the most appropriate pathway individuals and growing children should resort to. You need to be conveying your emotions, your rights, and your feelings in a proper manner. Learning to say no that you do not like things. This is a right that you will be requiring to firmly express your belief. So this is not about hurting other people. We don't say no to hurt other people, but to provide them clarity. But to tell them that this is a chunk of things that he or she is connected to, etc. Then being able to express themselves without any anxiety, nervousness, and boasting, which is very true. Assertion should not bring about nervousness. It should not bring about that stride of boasting also. So if you win something and you're happy, you should not go gaga about it the entire day, as I mentioned. Your happiness should be out in a manner does not hurt others people feeling. At the same time, it's done in a very controlled and calm manner. Once you hurt other people's feeling, remember the most important part of assertiveness is gone. It's delusionalized. Why? You do not provide any sort of barrier between what are you feeling. When we start boasting, we end up, saying things which are not even correct and appropriate. So the key sense of assertion goes away when we are not true to the emotion and feelings that we are expressing. There's no point. Then assertiveness is also about exhibiting control, appropriate control over emotions and feelings, which is we needn't curb our feelings. We needn't curb and control our impulses completely, but manage it. but manage it. Which means if you feel you're very happy and you want to express it to somebody right here and right, please confine in the ones that you relate to. Angry, you want to vent out. Do it in a manner of venting out. Do not fall on dependency on the other person's. Assertion actually cuts out emotional dependency and adds to emotional intelligence. Because emotional dependency is something that will cut down your emotional intelligence, and assertion will add on to it. So these are a few ways that how interpersonal, an assertive individual along with emotional intelligence will look like, which is having the five C's, will be able to, go as per the phrase of live and let live, which also suggests we do not harm other people emotionally or physically. We equally respect them by giving priorities to our rights and feelings. Also, being able to express the right kind of feeling, not being nervous or boasting about it, and having an appropriate control. Control means what and how much is required. We needn't tell everything to everybody. I feel that's like the key to the world. We needn't share everything and everyone to the world. That's how assertion fits to that component appropriately. Now, understanding how self-control was so largely related to emotional intelligence and assertion was also, let's understand when we can develop self-control, we can equally develop assertion. Assertion is also a skill as it's been labeled, so we can equally develop it, acquire. So emotional intelligence has been stated as both a skill and an ability. So it's something that some people are equally born with. So the nature nurture already tells that it's an interplay. Both is there. There are some that you will find being born with it, and there are some who are getting influence, getting a greater environment and developing it. So speaking of this, how do we develop assertiveness? Being aware of one's emotion is the first thing. Knowing what you're feeling correctly. If you're feeling happy, you need to feel like that. If you're feeling frustrated, learn to label it correctly, that it is frustration which might be coming because of blocking of goals, or might be coming because lost somewhere, there has been a conflict, or simply there's blockage of goals. So first is awareness. The next that we talk about is being aware about others emotions, which is equally the next step. Assertion not only talks about our rights but also talks about other people's right. It greatly justifies the fact that it's not about just understanding yourself but also understanding the others. So we need to not only respect other people, but also assertion development can happen when you pay way to the other person. So let's take an example. When two people conversate and you meet, is it only you who's talking in the conversation? Remember, if that is, you have taken control and it's more than assertion. And if you allow an equal outpour from the other person with equal amount of emotion along with yours, that is assertion coming into play. Then another way of developing is the C's of assertiveness. You need to develop clarity. You need to be clear of what you're doing, how are you doing, and being confident enough. So if you feel you're not confident in a task, please don't share it with people. There's no point sharing that emotion with people, I feel, if you do not have clarity and confidence. Have the courage. Have the courage of putting it out clearly and precisely. At the same time, a controlled manner is something that completes your assertion. It's something which makes sure that you are able to convey your emotions and problems completely. I'll give you an example of two people that will help you make understand this. Let's take an example. There's a person A who missed his bus, and there's a person B who missed his bus. The person A who missed his bus calls somebody, howls on them, and tells them that how it's so difficult to, cope up with these times. It's so difficult. It's so, populated environment. Gets difficult for a normal man to be a part of these public transport, and how life is so struggleful. This is how they express. And there's a person B who makes a call and states that it's a difficult time, will probably add on to the time, and as everyone is going through something or the other, it was their day and they would make up for it. This is assertively expressing your emotion that yes, you've missed your bus today. Yes, the world is really populated, but not falling in completely blaming onto that. Once you do that, remember there's a lack of self control. When there's a lack of self control, you are not recognizing your emotion completely. You are just getting aggressive rather than sensibly and mindfully understanding the problem. So this is another thing that we can develop. Also, another way of acquiring assertiveness is Practice an assertive dialogue all the time. Like the time that you're very angry and you want to just say somebody just go away and get lost, don't do that. Don't do that. Use it. Recognize your emotion that I'm angry because first is recognition and then what was in self control, determining why it was happening. So you are angry because other people's does not, the other people does not put out his effort. So it's a group task. The other person doesn't show up, does not contribute. So assertion is developing, not developing a communication overnight, rather than practicing it with time. So how do you do it? Let's take an example. There's somebody who's not been contributing to your joint work. How do you tell them? Okay, we don't need you anymore. Get lost of the group. We don't want you now because you're not contributing. No, expressing it emotionally appropriately with high emotional intelligence and assertion is very disappointed with your contribution being not appropriate. It is disheartening to see that how the contribution is going down with time and other people are making up for your capacity and capability. We look forward for your efforts from now on. So did you realize how the other person gets under scanner by such a statement? Also, when you do not want to speak to somebody, what does the generation adolescent does? Please go. You're so irritating. I don't want to talk. No, you need to, not the right time to communicate. You are not in a position to understand my state. So this is how you put out assertively. See, we tell the other person that how they are not able to understand your state and you need a space out. Also, in other patterns, developing this gradually will happen. It's not an overnight, not rocket science. Please be mindful. You need to be mindful of your behaviors and emotions and feelings before expressing. That will control an outburst of it. So these are some ways that your assertiveness skills can be developed. Other ways, use your body language, build confidence, set boundaries, handle criticism well, resolve conflicts, practice assertive dialogues, as I said, overcome the fear and anxiety. Effective communication, again, is the key. Set boundaries and identify your personal barriers. So, these were some of the strategies, and this would be the next unit that we would be doing, which is self regard. Self regard will talk about how it is important to regard oneself and respect oneself with two of its attributes, which is something which is self regard, comprising of self esteem, self concept, self respect. So, this completes with complete understanding of this unit and strategies of self regard also in the next class. Thank you.